everyone, welcome to Looming Maestro. I am your host Vedant Chapel and today we are going to learn nutrition in animals. So, what are we waiting for? Let's start with the session. So, as we all know that plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis, but animals cannot. So, animals get their food from plants or we eat animals that depend upon the plants. So, indirectly or directly, we all are dependent upon the plants. All the and organisms, including human, require food for their growth, repair, and functioning of the body. Animals' nutrition include nutrient requirement, mode of intake of food, and its utilization by the body. So let's learn the different ways of taking food. So the mode of taking food in the body varies in different organisms. For example, the bees and the hummingbird suck the nectar of the plants. Infants of human and many other animals feed upon the mother's milk. Snakes like the pythons swallow the animals they prey upon. And some aquatic animals filter many tiny food particles floating nearby and feed upon them. So let's particularly learn the digestion that occurs in humans. We take in food through the mouth and then utilize it. The unused part of the food are defecated. The food passes through a continuous canal which begins at the buccal cavity and ends at the anus. The canal can be divided into various compartments, like starting with the buccal cavity, then comes the food pipe or also known as the esophagus, then comes the stomach, then is the small intestine, then is the large intestine, then ending in the rectum and then the anus. These parts together form the alimentary canal or also together known as digestive tract. The food components gradually are digested as food passes through the various compartments. The digestive juices convert the complex substances of food into simpler ones. The digestive tract and the associated glands together constitute the digestive system. So whatever we have learnt, we need a recap. So let's start. So we have learned that the digestion starts in the buccal cavity. Then the food is transferred through a pipe known as the esophagus. Then comes the stomach. Then comes the small intestine. Then is the large intestine. Then is the rectum. Then is the anus. And these all the parts together form the alimentary canal or the digestive tract. So here is a diagram where you can see the buccal cavity. You can see the salivary gland which secretes saliva. Then comes the esophagus. Then is the liver which secretes bile juice. Then comes the stomach which looks like a flattened J. Then you can see a gallbladder. So gallbladder is a bag that stores the bile juice. Then comes the pancreas which secretes the pancreatic juice. Then comes the small intestine which is 7.5 meters long and it is coiled in our body. Then comes the large intestine which is 1.5 meter in length and is much wider than the small intestine. Then comes your rectum where the undigested food is stored, and then comes the anus where the undigested food flushes out of our body. So let's learn the mouth and the buccal cavity in detail. So the food is taken into our body through the mouth. The process of taking food into the body is called ingestion. We chew the food with the teeth and break it down into small pieces. Each tooth is rooted in a separate socket in the gums. Our teeth vary in appearance and perform different functions. Accordingly, they are given different names. First comes the incisors, then comes the canines, then come the premolars, and then at the last you can see the molars. The mouth and the buccal cavity. A mouth has salivary glands which secretes saliva. The salivary glands break down the starch into simple sugars. The tongue is a fleshy, muscular organ attached at the back to the floor of the buccal cavity. It is free at the front and can be moved in the all direction. We use our tongue for talking. Besides, it mixes saliva with the food during chewing and helps in swallowing the food. We also taste food with our tongue. So the tongue have taste buds that detect different tastes like sour, bitter, salty, or sweet. So let's learn the food pipe or the esophagus in detail. The swallowed food is then passed into the food pipe or the esophagus. The food pipe runs along the neck of the chest. Food is pushed down by the movement of the wall of the food pipe. Actually, this movement takes place throughout the alimentary canal and then pushes the food downwards. At times, the food is not accepted by our stomach and is vomited out or defecated. So, let's learn the stomach in detail. The stomach is a thick walled bag. Its shape is like a flattened J, and it is the widest part of the alimentary canal or the digestive tract. It receives food from the food pipe or the esophagus at one end and then opens it into the small intestine at the other end. The inner lining of the stomach secretes mucus, hydrochloric acid, and digestive juices. The mucus protects the lining of the stomach. The acid kills many bacteria that enter along the food and makes the medium in the stomach acidic and helps the digestive juices to act. The digestive juices break down the proteins into simpler substances. So let's learn the small intestine in the detail. The small intestine is highly coiled and is about 7.5 meter long. It receives secretions from the liver and the pancreas. Besides, its wall also secretes juices. The liver is a reddish brown gland situated in the upper part of the abdomen on the right side. It is the largest gland in the body. It secretes bile juice that is stored in a sac called the gallbladder. The bile juice plays an important role in the digestion of fats. The pancreas is a large cream-colored gland located just below the stomach. The pancreatic juice acts on carbohydrates, fats, and proteins and changes them into simpler forms. The carbohydrates get broken into simple sugars such as glucose, fats into fatty acids and glycerol, and proteins into amino acids. Absorption in the small intestine. The digested food can now pass into the blood vessels in the wall of the intestine. This process is called absorption. The inner walls of the small intestine have thousands of finger like outgrowths. These are called villi. The villi increase the surface area for absorption of the body of the digested food. Each villi has a network of thin small blood vessels close to its surface. The surface of the villi absorbs the digested food materials. The absorbed food is then transported via the blood vessels to different organs of the body. where they are used to build complex substances such as the proteins required by the body. This is called assimilation. So basically, when the food is entered in the small intestine, the blood vessels or the villi absorbs the nutrients from the food, and this process of absorption is known as absorption. And when these nutrient power is transported to different parts of the body, it is known as assimilation. The food that remains undigested and unabsorbed enters into the large intestine. So let's learn what happens in the large intestine. So the large intestine is wider and shorter than the small intestine. It is about 1.5 meters in length. Its function is to absorb the food and some salts from the undigested food. The remaining waste passes into the rectum and remains there as semi-solid fecus. The fecal matter is then removed through the anus time to time. This is called egestion. So the mode of taking food into our body is known as ingestion, and removal of the undigested food is known as egestion. Digestion in grass eating animals. So we have learned till now the digestion that occurs in the human body, and now we are going to learn the digestion in the grass eating animals. So we have observed that cows, buffaloes, and other grass eating animals keep chewing continuously even when they are not eating. Actually, what happens, they quickly swallow the grass and then store it in a part of the stomach called the rumen. Here, the food gets partially digested and is called cud. But later, the cud returns to the mouth in small lumps and the animal chews it. This process is called rumination, and these animals are known as ruminants. So here's a diagram where you can see the esophagus of the grass eating animal, rumen where the cud is stored, then the small intestine, stomach, cecum, large intestine. Okay, so the grass is rich in cellulose. So what is cellulose? So cellulose is a type of carbohydrate. In ruminants like cattle, deer, etc., bacteria is present in rumen that helps in digestion of cellulose. Many animals, including humans, cannot digest cellulose. Animals like horse, rabbit, etc., have a large sac like structure known as the cecum between the esophagus and the small intestine. The cellulose of the food digested here by the action of certain bacteria which are not present in humans. Feeding and digestion in amoeba. So here we have learned the digestion in the grass eating animals, how they eat the grass, then it is stored in the rumen, then it is partially digested, it is known as the cud, then this cud is returned to the mouth in small lumps, then the animal chews it, and then the whole digestion occurs. So we have learned the digestion in humans and grass eating animals, and now we are going to learn the digestion in amoeba. So basically, what is amoeba? So amoeba is a microscopic single celled organism found in the pond water. So amoeba is a single celled or a unicellular organism that is found in the pond water. Amoeba has a cell membrane, a rounded dense nucleus, and many small bubble-like vacuoles in its cytoplasm. Okay. So, amoeba constantly changes its shape and position. It pushes out one or more finger-like projections called the cytopodia or false feed for movement and capture of food. Amoeba feeds on some microscopic organisms. When it senses food, it pushes out its cytopodia around the food particle and then engulfs it. The food becomes trapped in the food vacuole. Digestive juices act on the food and gradually the digested food is absorbed. So, what we have learned in amoeba is that the amoeba is a macroscopic organism and it is a unicellular organism that is found in the pond water. It has cell membrane, nucleus and cytoplasm. It can take out finger-like projections. It is known as the cytopodia. It is also known as the false feet. These false feet capture food, and all the digestive juices act on that organism, and gradually the organism is digested by the digestive system of the amoeba. Here the diagram where you can see the nucleus, cytoplasm, food particle or the ingestion, food vacuole, digested waste. Thanks for watching my video. Please like, subscribe and share. Thank you.